Dear Isekai readers, what is it that you enjoy in these types of stories? I'm dead serious here, no irony or anything. What the actual fuck do you find in these works that the Japs just keep insisting on adapting every goddamn season? Now okay, that was a bit harsh. Let me explain. I'm probably in the minority here, but I, apparently unlike most others, seek a little bit of a different experience from any given trapped in another world story. My ideal Isekai would probably be something like this. In a world where the dark forces are rising to conspire against the civilized world, that very world summons heroes from another world to help them at the very least gather some sort of stability. But because of one single fuck-up, the ritual is botched, and instead of appearing as a warrior, our protagonist is either trapped or a lonely scribe from a church, or even as an attendant for an envoy. Or would they be called messengers these days? No matter. So instead of fighting heroic battles, our protagonist would be learning languages and how to do rituals, speak properly in different languages, and deal with courtly and priestly intrigue. The various church ideologies, noble factions, and subtle differences in body language that can make or break a very tense peace negotiation. I'd rather watch a well-executed battle of wits than the now commonplace epic battles of epic epicness, that are not only done to death at this point, but even parodied to death as well. What I mean to say here is that whatever the fuck this anime is doing, it certainly doesn't meet my desires. Kenja no Mago is a 12-episode Trapped in Another World anime produced by Studio Silverlink that tells the story of an orphan boy named Shin, whose parents have died from a demon attack that's found and raised by an old man named Merlin Wolfold, along with his slew of friends and ex-wife. After a decade of living in the woods, Shin grows into a handsome teenager and then suddenly realizes that all his life he was trained by pretty much the best people in the kingdom, including the king himself. But because he's got no knowledge of the outside world, the king decides to enlist him into a magical Japanese school that just so happens to be called an academy, where he starts kicking ass and marrying wenches. Wait a minute, why haven't you mentioned the isekai part of this isekai? How inquisitive of you, my dear viewer. And simultaneously, I too wonder, where is the isekai in this one? Yes, Shin is, in reality, a reincarnation of a person from our world, which also somehow explains why his magic is stronger than that of the others from this world. While others loudly imagine how a log burns, Shin imagines the process of burning from the start, which makes for stronger magic. Other than that, there's no reason for this to be an isekai. I, in fact, have thought of at the very least 3 ways to explain his super abilities without ever mentioning planet Earth. Guess the genre is so popular you have to at least pretend to be part of it, otherwise you won't even get adapted. But I digress. For the most part, the plot is what you'd expect of a typical fantasy anime, including the protagonist that's super strong, super experienced, and gets to know every single powerful individual in his kingdom. Basically, if you've ever seen a regular at Magic High School, or to some extent, Kill la Kill, you'll probably get used to this anime fairly quickly. At the same time, though, it's more mature in some aspects than its contemporaries. The hero isn't an ungodly Gary Stu, his powers merely give him a head start. The girl he's interested in not only loves him in return, but they get some significant romantic development, and the supportive characters actually provide moral and emotional support instead of simply being comic relief. The visuals are decent and the music is pretty average for a fantasy anime, but with various memorable moments, and even some tracks that would be nice to listen to separately, although I personally would swap the opening and ending, but hey, that's just me. Overall, while I wouldn't say it's a bad anime, it's not a great one either. As far as isekais go, I'd say this one's about on the same level as Overlord on a budget. Nice, but overall nothing special. And why the hell this is an isekai, I'll never know.